Alright, good afternoon everyone. We are here with break 62, our third 24 Traders Titanium break. Oh, team list. Negative. Give me 2 secs guys, just so I can get the team list up. Alright. Alright, sorry. But we're good to go. So, now I've done that, our team list. And chat screen. Broncos, Jeff Warnes. Raiders, Sean May. Bulldogs, Wayne Stewart. G'day, Jeff. Adam Lucas to the Sharks. Dolphins, Darren McDermott. Titans and Manly, Sean May. Storm, Kieran Zanoni. Knights, Michael Bryan. Cowboys, Sean May. Eels, Dean Ryan. Panthers, David Murray. Rabbitohs, Nathan Tones. Dragons, Isaac McIntyre. Roosters, Michael Slattery. Warriors, Peter Lowe. And Tigers, Sean May. Alright. So, we've got our priority box, our case, and our mini starters. Let's go. Get all these out, get rid of the box. Gives a few more people a bit more time to join the live video. Alright. Let's go. First up, we have a copper Elliot Whitehead for the Raiders, number 89. Next up, we've got a gold, number 7, Elsie Albert for the Eels. Silver, number 80, Hamoli Olaka'atu for Manly. In the copper, number 185, Jerome Hughes for the Storm. Tyson Frizzell, number 102 in the copper. Going. In the copper, number 101, Ewan Aiken for the Dolphins. In the gold, number 98, Adam Fanua Blake Number 15 in the gold. April. Yep, not sure. For the Cowboys. Mikhail Ravalawa in the silver, number 143. Number 119 in the copper, Brendan Picoria for the Broncos. Number 80 in the gold, Tyson Frizzell. In the copper, number 92, Mitchell Moses for the Eels. Number 55 in the silver, Jason Taumalolo. Still got a few spots left in the break for Sunday. Break 264, guys. If anyone's interested. Holly Dodd in the copper. Number 79. Had to get the right angle so I can see the number. In the copper, number 112, Adam Fanua-Blake. In the silver, Georgia Roach, number 38 for the Knights. Number 194, Shante for the Titans in the copper. In the silver, number 61, Gail Broughton. Number 93 in the copper, Georgia Roach for the Knights. And in the gold, number 65, Molly Olakau'atu. Now, don't quote me, but I think that's one of our better spreads from the starter packs that we've had. Unfortunately, we always have a few teams that miss out, but there weren't too many doubles. So, hopefully that's a good sign of what's to come in today's break. Nice even spread. Adam Dewey, Welding League, Sifa Talakai, parallel for the Sharks. That's right, starter packets, retail packets, Mitchell Moses, parallel for the Eels. So some of the retail packs don't contain an insert, guys. Only the parallel. Season to remember, Bradman Best for the Knights. Matt Burton, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Lindsay Smith for the Panthers. Jack DeBellin, parallel for the Dragons. Sword and Shield, Patrick Carrigan for the Broncos. Eels, parallel checklist. Jareen Buller, parallel for the Tigers. Don't forget to get your tips in, guys. Games on Sunday. Club Heroes, Payne Huss for the Broncos. James Fisher-Harris, parallel for Panthers. We have the 2 tipping comps again this year. We have the paid and the free. World in League, Tony Staggs for the Broncos. Jesse Ramian, parallel for the Sharks. Season to remember, Adam Reynolds for Broncos. Jamal Fogarty, parallel for the Raiders. Sword and Shield, Kalen Ponga for the Knights. Jerome Hughes, parallel for Storm. Rising Stars, Dylan Lucas for the Knights. Roosters, parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Anessa Biddle for the Sharks. Jacob Preston, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Eliza Salata for the Tigers. Isaiah Yeo, parallel for Panthers. Season to remember, Tyra and Peachy for Panthers. Victor Radley, parallel for the Roosters. Vitalana Nakor, World in League for the Cowboys. Manly, parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Trey Mooney for the Raiders. Mikhail Ravalawa, parallel for the Dragons. Season to remember, Jamal Fogarty for the Raiders. Regan Campbell-Gillard, parallel for the Eels. Sword and Shield, Latrell Mitchell for the Rabbitohs. Storm, parallel checklist. Rising Stars for the Dragons. Apisai Coruscant, parallel for the Tigers. Club Heroes, Sua Wong for the Roosters. Josh Papali'i, parallel for the Raiders. Premiership Predictor number 176 for the Knights. Jeremy Marshall King, parallel for the Dolphins. Parallel Tom Gilbert for the Dolphins. Season to remember, Sean Johnson for the Warriors. Kalen Ponga, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Brendan Picura for the Broncos. Kurt Capewell, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Isaiah Katoa for the Dolphins. Christian Welsh, parallel for Storm. Women's NRL, Tyler Nathan Wong for the Dragons. Reese Robson, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Ronald Volkman for the Warriors. Lindsay Collins, parallel for the Roosters. Women's NRL, Leanne Tafuga for the Tigers. Hudson Young, parallel for the Raiders. Women's NRL, Emma Manzelman for the Cowboys. Lachlan Croker, parallel for Manly. Daly Cherry Evans, Club Heroes for Manly. Isaac Tago, parallel for Panthers. Oh, get open. Season to remember, Valance to wear for the Dolphins and Alafiana Khan Piera, parallel for Titans. Women's NRL, Destiny Brill for the Broncos. Blake Laurie, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Tiana Smith for the Cowboys. Jackson Ford, parallel for the Warriors. Tigers, parallel checklist. Showcase, Ronaldo Molitalo for the Sharks. William Kennedy, parallel for the Sharks. World in League, Dallin Watine Zalesniak for the Warriors. And Ruben Cotter, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Cassie Hiku for the Eels. Cameron Murray, parallel for the Rabbitohs. I don't know what happened. Rising Stars for Manly. Jake Jabojevic, parallel for Manly. Racine McGregor, World in League for the Dragons. Jai Arrow, parallel for the Rabbits. Rising Stars for the Titans. David Fafita, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Mona Lisa Soliola for the Raiders. Knights Parallel Checklist. Season to Remember, Isaiah Tass for the Rabbitohs. Wade Egan, parallel for the Warriors. Dylan Edwards, showcase for the Panthers. Adam Reynolds, parallel for the Broncos. World in League, Jacob Carraz for the Bulldogs. Adokar, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Ella Costa for the Dragons. Jaden Campbell, parallel for the Titans. Episode Coruscant, season to remember for the Tigers. Tommy Turbo, parallel for Manly. Season to remember, Valentine Holmes for the Cowboys. Dolphins parallel checklist. World in League, Shante for the Titans. Dane Gagai, parallel for the Knights. Jesse Southwell, Rising Stars for the Knights. Reece Welsh, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Ruby Jean Ellis for the Eels. Sean Bloor, parallel for the Tigers. Dylan Latine Zalesniak, parallel for the Warriors. Season to remember, Mikhail Ravalawa for the Dragons. Selwyn Cobbo, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars tells Duncan for the Rabbitohs. Valance to Ware, parallel for the Dolphins. Cody Walker, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Showcase for the Raiders. Greg Marsu, parallel for the Knights. Retirement, Renee Target for the Dragons. And Alex Johnston, parallel for the Rabbitohs. 4 packs left to go. Showcase Tyler Talk, Koala for Manly. Jeremiah Nanai, parallel for Cowboys. Women's NRL, Georgia Roach for the Knights. Cameron McInnes, parallel for the Sharks. Club Hero, Sanua Taruva for the Panthers. Stefano Utikamanu, parallel for the Tigers. Alright, last packet out of the starter packs. Rising Stars, Tom Jenkins for the Panthers, and Tohu Harris, parallel for the Warriors. Alright, just going to get these off to the side, and then we'll open up the case. See who today's lucky case card winner is. Hey, okay. We have a header card. Number 2. So we'll randomise that between all 17 spots at the end. Alright, I'll get these out now. Can we follow up with another Legends today? Haven't seen a Shane Webke yet. Will we find one first? And just because I haven't seen it doesn't mean there's not one out there. All right. Box number 1. Let's trot. Sword and Shield, Tyson Frizzell for the Knights, Molly Olaka'atu, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Sandon Smith for the Roosters. Cowboys parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Thomas Hazelton for the Sharks. Panthers parallel checklist. Club Heroes, Payne Huss for the Broncos. Campbell Graham parallel for the Rabbitohs. Yasmin Clydesdale, Women's NRL for the Knights. Luke Keary, parallel for the Roosters. Season to remember, Emma Tony Gatto for the Sharks. Payne Haas, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Blake Wilson for the Bulldogs. Isaiah Katoa, parallel for the Dolphins. Toltor Koala, showcase for Manly. Jordan Rapiner, parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Rumi Grigg for the Eels. Will Warbrick, parallel for the Storm. Sword and Shield team for the Knights. Bradman Best, parallel for the Knights. World in League, Sifa Talakai for the Sharks. Ben Hunt, parallel for the Dragons. Season to remember, Jaden Ockenbaugh for the Bulldogs. Bryce Cartwright, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Tane Tua Picky for the Warriors. Reid Marnie, parallel for the Bulldogs. World in League, Georgia Roach for the Knights. Sean Johnson, parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Talon De Silva for the Tigers. Ronaldo Mulatalo, parallel for the Sharks. David Fafita, World in League for the Titans. World in League parallel for the Titans. Alexander Brimson, parallel for the Titans. Oh. Authentic initials. Phoenix Crossland for the Knights. Number 206. Jason Tom Lolo, parallel for the Cowboys. Season to remember, Jackson Paulo for the Roosters. Adam Dewey, parallel for the Tigers. Gold parallel, Jermaine Hopgood for the Eels, number 31. Junior Tupou, parallel for the Tigers. Season to remember, Jamal Fogarty for the Raiders. Nico Hines, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Jada Ferguson for the Broncos. Tolator Koala, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Shante for the Titans. Chance Nico Klokstad, parallel for the Warriors. Club Heroes, Sanua Taruva for the Panthers. Brian Tyler, parallel for Panthers. Shale Retty for the Raiders. Daniel Saifiti, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Toby Couchman for the Dragons. Philip Semi, parallel for the Titans. Sword and Shield, Corey Horsburgh for the Raiders. Brendan Smith, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Jack Howarth for Storm. Raiders parallel checklist. Season to remember, Valentine Holmes for the Cowboys. Tommy Dearden, parallel for the Cowboys. Season to remember, Apasai Coruscant for the Tigers. Nelson Asafa Solomona, parallel for the Storm. Zali Faye, Women's NRL for the Eels. Tyrell Sloan, parallel for Dragons. Showcase Corey Horsburgh for the Raiders. Taveta Totola, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Zach Labour, Rising Stars for the Cowboys. Junior Paulo, parallel for Eels. World in League, Lachlan Ilias for the Rabbitohs. Paloma Kickout, parallel for Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Thomas Kent for the Knights. Ezra Mam, parallel for the Broncos. Second last packet for the first box. Women's Gold Parallel, Corbin Baxter, number 188 for the Roosters. Kieran Foran, parallel for the Titans. Women's NRL, Gail Broughton for Broncos and Felice Kafusi, parallel for the Dolphins. Box number 2, first packet, Rising Stars, Jada Taylor for the Sharks, Adam Fanua Blake parallel for the Warriors. Season to remember, Hudson Young for the Raiders, Sharks parallel checklist. Reid Marnie, showcase for the Bulldogs. Harry Grant, parallel for the Storm. Georgia Roach, women's NRL for the Knights. David Clemmer, parallel for the Tigers. Yeah. Welcome, Maria. Ryan Pappenhausen, season to remember for the Storm. Corey Horsburgh, parallel for the Raiders. Wade Graham, retirement for the Sharks. Rising Stars for the Eels. Ruben Garrick, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Terrell May for the Roosters. Daniel Tupou, parallel for the Roosters. Vanessa Biddle, World in League for the Sharks. Nathan Cleary, parallel for the Panthers. Women's Gold parallel, Racing McGregor for the Dragons, number 146. Joey Manu, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Tom Jenkins for the Panthers. Sifa Talakai, parallel for the Sharks. Till Vet Welsh, season to remember for the Tigers. Dragons parallel checklist. Welding League, Shannon Muru for the Eels. Sean Bloor, parallel for the Tigers. Club Hero, Sarah Togatuki for the Tigers. Nick Meaney, parallel for the Storm. Season to remember, Luke Keary for the Roosters. Tony Turbo, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Tom Weaver for the Titans. James Fisher-Harris, parallel for Panthers. Rising Stars, Ronald Volkman for the Warriors. Joey Tapine, parallel for the Raiders. Welding League, Melly Huffinger for the Broncos. Welding League parallel, Lindsay Collins parallel for the Roosters. Halfway through box number 2. Running Machines, Dylan Edwards for the Panthers, number 23. Hudson Young parallel for the Raiders. I feel like they're just scoring machines shrunken from horizontal to a vertical design. Season to remember, Kira Dibb for the Cowboys. Scott Drinkwater parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Jacob Preston for the Bulldogs. Big Tino parallel for the Titans. Gold parallel, Titans checklist, number 6. Rabbitohs parallel checklist. Tyson Frizzell, Welding League for the Knights. Toby Sexton, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Dream Buller for the Tigers. Patrick Carrigan, parallel for the Broncos. Club Heroes, Wiremu Grigg for the Eels. Hammer Fido, parallel for the Dolphins. Women's NRL, Kennedy Sherrington for the Eels. Jermaine Hopgood, parallel for the Eels. Sword and Shield, Mikhail Ravalawa for the Dragons. Jackson Hastings, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Benjamin Lovett for the Rabbitohs. Zach Lomax, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Ella Costa for the Dragons. Chad Townsend, parallel for the Cowboys. Season to remember, Nico Hines for the Sharks. Damien Cook, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Josh Alloy, Welding League for Manly. Milwaukee, Fodawaker, parallel for Titans. Sword and Shield, Jermaine Isako for the Dolphins. Broncos parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Jesse Southwell for the Knights. Jermaine Isako parallel for the Dolphins. Sword and Shield team for the Roosters. Jacob Carraz, parallel for the Bulldogs. Leanne Tafuga, Women's NRL for the Tigers. Jacob Saifiti, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Trey Mooney for the Raiders. Ryan Madison, parallel for the Eels. Alright, last packet for the second box. Showcase Jaden Campbell for the Titans and Dallin Watine-Zelezniak, parallel for the Warriors. Box number 3. Rising Stars, Elafiana Piera for the Titans. Ruben Cotter, parallel for the Cowboys. Season to remember, Tyrone Peachy for the Panthers. Roosters, parallel checklist. Women's NRL, Margaret Vella for the Dragons. Jamal Fogarty, parallel for the Raiders. Showcase Renato Molitalo for the Sharks. Elafiana Piera, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Kalasapani Hopawade for the Roosters. Jerome Hughes, parallel for Storm. Isaiah Tass, season 2 member for the Rabbitohs. Jacob Preston, parallel for the Bulldogs. Mela Hufunga, World in League for the Broncos. Jack DeBellin, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Lindsay Smith for Panthers. Eels, parallel checklist. Gold parallel, Yasmin Clydesdale, Women's NRL, number 154. Mitchell Moses, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Mason Teague for the Dolphins. Jai Arrow, parallel for the Rabbitohs. World in League, Jerome Hughes for the Storm. Matthew Tomoko, parallel for the Raiders. Season to remember, Xavier Coates for Storm. Cam Munster, parallel for Storm. Season to remember, Mikhail Ravalawa. Reece Robson, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Ethan Strange for the Raiders. Jaden Sewer, parallel for the Dragons. Club Heroes, Sewer Wong for the Roosters. Dave Fafita, parallel for the Titans. Welding League, Georgia Roach for the Knights. Clint Gufferson, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Ebony Pryor for the Tigers. Matt Burton, parallel for the Bulldogs. Retirements, Jared Croker for the Raiders. Bulldogs, parallel checklist. Oh. There we go, hour in, 2.5 boxes plus the mini starter case. Season to remember, Valance to wear for the Dolphins. Knights parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Brendan Pikura for the Broncos. Jeremy Marshall King, parallel for Dolphins. Gold parallel, Selwyn Cobbo for the Broncos. Number 11. Wade Egan, parallel for the Warriors. Welding League, Semi Valemi for the Cowboys. Adam Reynolds, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Tiana Smith for the Cowboys. Jesse Ramian, parallel for the Sharks. Club Heroes, Dally Cherry Evans for Manly. Afasai Coruscant, parallel for the Tigers. Women's NRL, Holly Dodd for the Raiders. Cameron Murray, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Sword and Shield, Nathan Cleary for the Panthers. Lachlan Croker, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Gordon Tong for Manly. Isaac Tago, parallel for Panthers. Rising Stars, Jesse Colquhoun for the Sharks. Kalen Ponga, parallel for the Knights. Season to remember, Ben Trbojevic for Manly. Jackson Ford, parallel for the Warriors. Sword and Shield, Sean Johnson for the Warriors. William Kennedy, parallel for the Sharks. Cal Ravalawa, World in League for the Dragons. Tom Gilbert, parallel for the Dolphins. At least these should be available for plenty of signings. Unlucky. That looked like it hurt. Brendan Hands, Rising Stars for the Eels. Tigers parallel checklist. Women's NRL, Vitalina Nakor for the Cowboys. Jake Jabojevic, parallel for Manly. Sword and Shield team for the Cowboys. Kurt Capewell, parallel for Broncos. Showcase for the Panthers. Dylan Edwards, parallel for Panthers. Rising Stars, Ali Latua for the Warriors. James Tedesco, parallel for the Roosters. And that's the last pack for box number 3. Sword and Shield, Dream Buller for the Tigers. Blake Laurie, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Talon De Silva for the Tigers. Eels, parallel checklist. Mitch Rain, retirements for the Titans. Rising Stars, Zach Labour for the Cowboys. Tamar Martin, parallel for the Warriors. Holly Wheeler, Women's NRL for the Sharks. Jacob Preston, parallel for the Bulldogs. Club Heroes, Toby Couchman for the Dragons. Blake Brayley, parallel for the Sharks. Showcase, Tyson Frizzell for the Knights. Alafiana Khan Piera, parallel for Titans. Rising Stars, Thomas Hazelton for the Sharks. Ruben Cotter, parallel for the Cowboys. Season to remember, Mackenzie Wiki for the Raiders. Jareen Buller, parallel for the Tigers. World in League Brendan Wakeham for the Tigers. Cameron Murray parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Sendon Smith for the Roosters. Manly Parallel Checklist. We do appreciate you hitting that like button. Thank you, guys. Season to remember, Cameron McInnes for the Sharks. And Adam Reynolds, parallel for the Broncos. By hitting the like button, it just helps promote us within YouTube. Hopefully towards new collectors that might not have heard of us. Sword and Shield for the Sharks. Isaiah Yeo, parallel for Panthers. Felice Kafusi, World in League for the Dolphins. Victor Radley, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Rumour Grieg for the Eels. Jeremy Marshall King, parallel for the Dolphins. Rising Stars, Blake Wilson for the Bulldogs. Big Papa, parallel for the Raiders. World in League, parallel, April for the Cowboys. Knights, parallel checklist. Initials, Pauline Play Razabel for the Tigers. Number 137. Wade Egan, parallel for the Warriors. Season to remember, Luke Brooks for the Tigers. Christian Welsh, parallel for the Storm. Rising Stars, Ethan Strange for the Raiders. Dane Gagai, parallel for the Knights. Season to remember, Nick Meaney for Storm. Sebastian Chris, parallel for the Raiders. Parallel, Jacob Saifiti, gold, number 10. Xavier Coates, parallel for Storm. Ali Cherry Evans, season to remember for Manly. Tohu Harris, parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Shante for the Titans. Jack Bird, parallel for the Dragons. Club Heroes, Xavier Coates for the Storm. Micah Sevo, parallel for the Eels. Sword and Shield, Nat Butcher for the Roosters. Max King, parallel for the Bulldogs. Jerome Hughes, showcase for the Storm. Cameron McInnes, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Toby Couchman for the Dragons. Stefano Utikamanu, parallel for the Tigers. Rising Stars, Jada Ferguson for the Broncos. Titans, parallel checklist. Season to remember, Scott Drinkwater for the Cowboys. Murray Talagi, parallel for the Cowboys. Women's NRL, Jesse Southwell for the Knights. Ben Jabojevic, parallel for Manly. 6th last packet for 4th box. Until that Welsh Women's NRL for the Tigers. Cody Walker, parallel for the Gravitas. You're all good, Alex. Welcome to the break, mate. Rising Stars, Jack Howarth for the Storm. Selwyn Cobbo, parallel for the Broncos. World in League, Hamoli Olaka'atu for Manly. Jerome Luai, parallel for Panthers. World in League, Elsie Albert for the Eels. Valance to wear, parallel for the Dolphins. Women's NRL, Gold, Jamie Chapman, 102 for the Titans. Greg Marshue, parallel for the Knights. Would definitely be the team Sword and Shield. Priority looks cool, but I'm happy with the normal one as well. Rising Stars for the Knights. Jared Rera-Hargraves, parallel for the Roosters. How about you, Mr. Alex? And I can say I've seen the coloured club heroes now, and yes, they are definitely out of the retail starter pack. Rising Stars, Connor for the Dragons. Cowboys parallel checklist. Yes, I think I prefer them out of all of them, to be honest. You can see the design a bit better in those ones. Jacob Preston, Club Heroes for the Bulldogs. Brian To'o, parallel for Panthers. Retirement, Samantha Brimner for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Anessa Biddle for the Sharks. Tolatoa Koala, parallel for Manly. Anessa Biddle, Women's NRL for the Sharks. Campbell Graham, parallel for the Rabbitohs. I think we have priorities up on the website.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep, there you go.
Not all.
Yeah, some obviously.
All priorities up, but not all up.
Shaw Lane, showcase for the Eels. Payne Huss, parallel for the Broncos. Yeah, it's Alex Hopes I'm talking to. He knows. He knows the routine. Season to remember, Selwyn Cobbo for Broncos. Brendan Smith, parallel for the Eels. Roosters. Rising Stars, Cassie Hiku for the Eels. Raiders, parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Dylan Lucas for the Knights. There's a couple of Moanas up there. Isaiah Katoa, parallel for the Dolphins. World in League, Jacob Cabraz for the Bulldogs. Bradman Best, parallel for the Knights. Sword and Shield for the Panthers. Nelson Mustafa Solomona, parallel for the Storm. World in League, Adam Dewey for the Tigers. Tyrell Sloan, parallel for the Dragons. There may be an issue with the priority Roosters shielding team. Shield and Sword.
Okay, the priority Sword and Shield team.
Yeah, saying it's available, but when you click on it, it's not available. Ewan Aiken, season 2 member for the Dolphins. Sean Johnson, parallel for the Warriors. Someone may have just sort of brought it.
I'll probably look, actually.
Rising Stars, Lindsay Smith for Panthers. Ronaldo Mulatalo, parallel for the Sharks. I know sometimes what you're describing could be just an unticked box.
Yeah.
World in League, parallel, Adam Fanua Blake for the Warriors. Adam Dewey, parallel for the Tigers. That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into it.
Yeah, you're right. No, I'm talking to Alex. Rising Stars, Mona Lisa Soliola for the Raiders. Junior Paulo, parallel for the Eels. Season to remember, Tyrone Munro for the Rabbitohs. Malami kick out, parallel for the Bulldogs. Shannon Mato, running machines for the Titans, number 72. Molly Olaka'atu parallel for Manly. Didn't finish it. Sword and Shield, Jake Trbojevic for Manly. Kieran Foran, parallel for Titans. Well, thank you, Alex.
Yes, thank you.
Season to remember, Mahalia Murphy for the Eels. Jake Trbojevic, parallel for Manly. Season to remember, Dallin Watine-Zelezniak for the Warriors. Clint Guffo, parallel for the Eels. Gold parallel, Isaiah Yeo for Panthers, number 50. Bulldogs parallel checklist. Nat Butcher showcase for the Roosters. Dylan Edwards parallel for the Panthers.
This one should be fixed for that person.
Should be fixed now. There you go, Alex, if you're interested. Rising Stars. Cole Olapu for the Bulldogs. Philip Semi parallel for the Titans. I know you're probably just having a look, but fixed now. Shannon Mato, Club Heroes for the Titans. Tommy Dearden, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Sua Wong for the Roosters. James Tedesco, parallel for the Roosters. Sword and Shield, Clint Guffo for the Eels. Tavita Totola, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars for the Cowboys. Tigers parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Eliza Salah for the Tigers. Ezra Mam, parallel for the Broncos. Women's NRL, Caitlin Johnston for the Knights. Matthew Tomoko, parallel for the Raiders. And now it's gone. Season to remember, Dominic Young for the Knights. Elise Kafusi, parallel for the Dolphins. Nevada George for the Tigers. Daniel Saifiti for the Knights. We're up to fifth last packet for our fifth box. Rising Stars, Isaiah Katoa for Dolphins. Chance Nico Klokstad, parallel for the Warriors. Welding League, Serena for the Sharks. Cameron Munster, parallel for Storm. World in League, Mitchell Moses for the Eels. Nico Hines, parallel for the Sharks. Women's NRL Gold Parallel game, Emily Bass, number 43. Junior Tupou, parallel for the Tigers. Last packet for box number 5. Rising Stars, Tallis Duncan for the Rabbitohs. Jaden Sewer, parallel for the Dragons. Let's go. Box number 6. Sword and Shield, Reece Walsh for the Broncos. Harry Grant, parallel for the Storm. Rising Stars, Sienna Lepepo, I don't know. Zach Lomax, parallel for the Dragons. Season to remember, Jamie Chapman for the Titans. Tony Staggs, parallel for the Broncos. Season to remember, Luke Metcalf for the Warriors. Jermaine Hopgood, parallel for the Eels. Women's NRL, Tiana Penatani for the Sharks. Toby Sexton, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Holly Dodd for the Raiders. Latrell Mitchell, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Xavier Wilson for the Broncos. Big Tino, parallel for the Titans. World in League, Saratoga Tukey for the Tigers. Scott Drinkwater, parallel for the Cowboys. Gold parallel, Ali Brigginshaw for the Broncos, number 100. And Rabbitohs parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Tyrone Munro for the Rabbitohs. Ryan Madison, parallel for the Eels. Jesse Southwell, season to remember for the Knights. Jackson Hastings, parallel for the Knights. Well, it gave you opportunity to get first dibs at it, that's for sure. World in League, Isaac Liu for the Titans. Jacob Carraz, parallel for the Bulldogs. Club Heroes, Will Warbrick for the Storm. Hammer Fido parallel for the Dolphins. Season to remember, Lachlan Elias for the Rabbitohs. Hawaii Fodawaika parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars Junior Tupou for the Tigers. Chad Townsend parallel for the Cowboys. That's your first priority ticked off the list. Rising Stars Will Warbrick for the Storm. Patrick Carrigan parallel for the Broncos. World in League parallel Lasana Lotu for the Tigers. Damien Cook parallel for the Rabbitohs. Retirement Corbin Sims for the Dragons. Broncos parallel checklist. World in League Micah Sivo for the Eels. Brighton Nakora parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars Ryan Rivet for the Knights. John Bateman parallel for the Tigers. Season to remember, Mitchell Moses for the Eels. Daly Cherry Evans parallel for Manly. Emily Curtin, Women's NRL for the Tigers. Warriors parallel checklist. Gold parallel, Luke Keary for the Roosters, number 24. Yeah, well, we should have them up soon. Luke Martin, parallel for the Panthers. It's on the list. Rising Stars, Ryan Couchman for the Dragons. Phoenix Crossland, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Sanua Taruva for Panthers. Daniel Tupou, parallel for the Roosters. Club Heroes, Emma Manzelman for the Cowboys. Corey Horsburgh, parallel for the Raiders. Group card in the Star Tunes. So that'll be randomization number 2, guys. We'll do the case card, then that. Jesse Bromwich, parallel for the Dolphins. If we're lucky enough to hit the Legends will be last. Rising Stars for Manly. Ruben Garrick, parallel for Manly. Meli Mafunga for the Broncos. Nathan Cleary, parallel for Panthers. Welding League, Palami Kickout for the Bulldogs. David Clemmer, parallel for the Tigers. Yeah, we pulled a Terry Lamb out yesterday, and we have opened one for ourselves. We haven't seen a wet keys yet.
Yeah, we sold a few lambs, but no one's pulled the wet keys sales.
There you go, and Dad's letting me know in the background that we've some customers have let us know that they've purchased a few in their boxes or starter packets. Sword and Shield, Tino for the Titans. Joey Manu, parallel for the Roosters. But once again, no web keys that we know of. Rising Stars, Atessa Pool for the Roosters. Joseph Tapine, parallel for the Raiders. Sword and Shield for Manly. Sharks, parallel checklist. Corbin Baxter, women's NRL for the Roosters. Nick Meaney, parallel for Storm. Yeah, I think it came out in the second box yesterday. Felice Kafusi, showcase for the Dolphins. Dragons, parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Robert Derby for the Cowboys. Adam Fanua Blake, parallel for Warriors. Pretty sure Dolphins won it yesterday. Alright. Alright, box number 7. Season to remember, Nathan Cleary for the Panthers. Jordan Rapana, parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Jonah Pezzett for the Storm. Trell Mitchell, parallel for the Rabbitohs. The internet's been a bit funny here actually as well. I've had my fingers crossed the last couple of days. I didn't have any issues. Rising Stars, Keanu Kinney for the Titans. Will Warbrick, parallel for the Storm. Women's NRL, Destiny Brill for the Broncos. I swear I just watched myself yawn on the video and made myself yawn again. Tony Staggs, parallel for the Broncos. Showcase Campbell Graham for the Rabbitohs. Jesse Bromwich, parallel for the Dolphins. Sword and Shield for the Bulldogs. Ben Hunt parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars Kayla Romaniuk for the Knights. Panthers parallel checklists. Rising Stars for the Cowboys. Phoenix Crossland parallel for the Knights. World in League Holly Dodd for the Raiders. Warriors parallel checklist. World in League, Jerome Luai for the Panthers. Bryce Cartwright, parallel for Eels. Season to remember, Ruben Garrick for Manly. Brighton Nakora, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Dean Madison for Manly. John Bateman, parallel for the Tigers. Club Heroes, Jacob Preston for the Bulldogs. Luke Keary, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Blake Moser for the Broncos. Reid Marnie, parallel for the Bulldogs. World in League, Mikael Ravalawa for the Dragons. Daly Cherry Evans, parallel for Manly. Retirement, George Burgess for the Rabbitohs. Season to remember, Matthew Feagai for the Dragons. AJ Brimson, parallel for the Titans. I believe there's still 6 spots available in Sunday's break 264, guys. If anyone's interested. Number 199, Raiders Predictor, Sean May. Liam Martin, parallel for the Panthers. Sword and Shield, Addo Carr for the Bulldogs. Jason Torvalolo, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Arthur Stephen for the Eels. Cowboys parallel checklist. I like the card. Junior Tupou, Rising Stars for the Tigers. Tolto Koala, parallel for Manly. Hawaii Photo Club Heroes for Titans. Campbell Graham, parallel for the Rabbits. Season to remember, Selwyn Cobbo for the Broncos. Brian To'o, parallel for Panthers. Yeah, I think the Dally M predictor card itself looks awesome. But yeah, only one of them being redeemable. Even if it was a set that you had to redeem, yeah, I don't know. Ruben Garrick, Sword and Shield for Manly. Payne Huss, parallel for the Broncos. Yeah, I think the Dally M card signed with a Dally M team set if you had the rest. I don't know. And then that's more that other people have to collect. So yeah, I don't know how to do that one. Rising Stars, Peter Holler for the Raiders. Isaiah Katoa, parallel for the Dolphins. Reece Welsh, showcase for the Broncos. Brendan Smith, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Valance to wear for the Dolphins. Raiders parallel checklist. Ewan Aiken, season to remember for the Dolphins. Bradman Best, parallel for the Knights. Well, that's it. Like, they can't cater to everyone. Some people are going to really like the stuff they're doing. Other stuff are going to be on the complete opposite and somewhere in between. Emma Manzelman, Women's NRL for the Cowboys. Sean Johnson, parallel for the Warriors. There's always going to be someone. Yeah, well, that's it. Everyone's entitled to an opinion. If we don't have an opinion, well, then we just turn into sheep and go along with everyone else's ideas. Women's NRL, Tyler Nathan Wong for the Dragons. Nelson Asafa Solomona, parallel for the Storm. And I mean, you see that in collecting. Very few people collect the same way. Everyone's got their own way of doing things. Gail Broughton, World in League for the Broncos. Tyrell Sloan, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Alexis Tunay for the Dragons. Ronaldo Mulatalo for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Andy Robinson for the Sharks. Junior Paulo, parallel for the Eels. World in League, Jaden Sewer for the Dragons. Adam Dewey, parallel for the Tigers. We get some weird orders, Alex. You start off an order and it's like, yep, I understand what this order's all about. Someone collecting a player or a team, and you get halfway through and it changes right up. Season to remember, Tyrone Munro for the Rabbits. Valami Kickout, parallel for the Bulldogs. And you can normally, when I often think about collections, yeah, that's right. That's it. Vanessa Biddle, Women's NRL for the Sharks, number 175. I Molly Olika-Atu, parallel for Manly. Gold parallel, Damien Cook for the Rabbitohs. 24. I know there's a couple of collectors out there that are happy to help other collectors finish their set, and they get a sense of achievement from helping someone else finish a set. Kieran Foran, parallel for Manly. Alright, box number 8. Season to remember, Bradman Best for the Knights, Valance to wear parallel for the Dolphins. Rising Stars, Isaiah Katoa for the Dolphins. Jack Bird, parallel for the Dragons. Sword and Shield, Reese Robson for the Cowboys. Greg Marzu, parallel for the Knights. Club Heroes, Simon Matorfa for the Raiders. Marcus Sivo, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Mona Lisa Soliola for the Raiders. Tamir Martin, a parallel for the Warriors. Women's NRL, Lauren Brown for the Titans. Blake Brayley, parallel for the Sharks. Season to remember, Sean Johnson for the Warriors. Max King, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Anessa Biddle for the Sharks. Titans, parallel checklist. Oh, get in there. Showcase David Clemmer for the Tigers. Jerome Buller, parallel for the Tigers. Rising Stars, Connor for the Dragons. Manly parallel checklist. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Sword and Shield for the Titans. Murray Talagi, parallel for the Cowboys. World in League, Corbin Baxter for the Roosters. Isaiah Yo, parallel for Panthers. Thank you. Season to remember, Adam Reynolds for the Broncos. Victor Radley, parallel for the Roosters. World in League, David Fafita for the Titans, Cody Walker, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Anyone think I got no sleep last night while I'm yawning? Rising Stars, Dylan Lucas for the Knights. Big Papa, parallel for the Raiders. World in League, Mitchell Moses, parallel for the Eels. Christian Welsh, parallel for the Storm. Oh God. Brighton Nakora, Black Authentics for the Sharks, number 37. Blake Laurie, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Cassie Hiku for the Eels. Selwyn Cobbo, parallel for the Broncos. Afternoon, buddy. Gold parallel, Nick Meaney for the Storm, number 20. Dolphins parallel checklist. Season to remember, Alafiana Campiera for the Titans. Reece Welsh parallel for the Broncos. Halfway through, or just over halfway through, box number 8. Rising Stars, Tallis Duncan for the Rabbitohs. Dane Gagai, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Destiny Brill for the Broncos. Checklist, parallel for the Storm. Yeah, as I said, that was good for a gill. I like that one. Fans of all species. Blake Brayley, Club Heroes for the Sharks. Tohu Harris, parallel for the Warriors. Sword and Shield, Harry Grant for the Storm. Cameron McInnes, parallel for the Sharks. Blake Wilson, season to remember for the Bulldogs. Mikhail Ravaloa, parallel for the Dragons. Showcase Bunty Afoa for the Warriors. Regan Campbell Gillard, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Kola Alapu for the Bulldogs. Stefano Utakamanu, parallel for the Tigers. Season to remember, Micah Sivo for the Eels. Ben Jabojevic, parallel for Manly. Well, on this video, or for this live video, we're at an average of 35 minutes per view and 31 views. Rising Stars, Francesca Goldthorpe for the Cowboys. Addo Carr, parallel for the Bulldogs. Women's NRL, Millie Boyle for the Roosters. Jerome Luai, parallel for Panthers. Quincy Dodd, Women's NRL for the Sharks. Jaden Campbell, parallel for the Titans. It's funny, normally around Elite, halfway through Elite, YouTube started hitting me up to monetize the channel. And then by Christmas time, when the breaks have cooled off, they stop hassling me. Lasana Lotu, World in League for the Tigers. Sebastian Chris, parallel for the Raiders. Yeah, I've got how many people, how many likes, how many views. So views and people are different. Ewan Aiken, World in League for the Dolphins. Jeremiah Nanite, parallel for the Cowboys. Elsie Albert, gold parallel for the Eels, number 38. Xavier Coates, parallel for Storm. Rising Stars, Sarah Wong for the Roosters. Alex Johnston, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Eliza Salata for the Tigers. Jared Rera Hargraves, parallel for the Roosters. And that is the end of box number 8. Fifth last box of the break. Let's go. Sword and Shield, James Tedesco for the Roosters. Xavier Coates, parallel for the Storm. Rising Stars for the Cowboys. Jack Bird, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Keanu Kinney for the Titans. Dane Gagai, parallel for the Knights. Helicosta, Women's NRL for the Dragons. Micah Sivo, parallel for the Eels. Club Heroes, Tyrone Munro for the Rabbitohs. Tohu Harris, parallel for the Warriors. Season to remember, Delhi Cherry Evans for Manly. Cameron McInnes, parallel for the Sharks. Ruben Cotter, showcase for the Cowboys. Max King, parallel for Bulldogs. Dean Madison, Rising Stars for Manly. Parallel checklist for the Titans. Rising Stars, Blake Moser for the Broncos. Stefano Utikamanu, parallel for the Tigers. World in League, Tyler Nathan Wong for the Dragons. Murray Talagi, parallel for the Cowboys. Sword and Shield for the Tigers. Ben Trbojevic, parallel for Manly. We pulled a black. Can't remember who that was. Don't think we pulled a white. Season to remember for the Cowboys. Cody Walker, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Full predictor. Once again, I can't remember. I think it was the Raiders. Yep, Raiders predictor. World in League, Brendan for the Broncos. Jerome Luai, parallel for Panthers. And in the Raiders, we got the retirement. And then Titans are doing pretty well. Titans have actually been reminding me when I first started doing breaks, there was a bit of a saying going around that Titans never fail. Always hit. Rising Stars, Terrell May for the Roosters. And they've had a couple of big breaks to start off with. Selwyn Cobbo, parallel for the Broncos. And looking at the tray at the moment, they're continuing. Rising Stars, Jonah Pezzett for the Storm. Jared Rera-Hargraves, parallel for the Roosters. World in League, parallel for the Dolphins. Ewan Aiken, Valance to wear, parallel for the Dolphins. Here we got Dean Ryan with the predictor for the Eels, number 178. Greg Marshew, parallel for the Knights. Season to remember, Nick Meaney for Storm. Sebastian Chris, parallel for the Raiders. Gold parallel, Toltor Koala for Manly, number 48. Hudson Young, parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Valance to wear for the Dolphins. Jermaine Isako, parallel for the Dolphins. Rising Stars, Peter Holler for the Raiders. Storm, parallel checklist. Club Heroes, Blake Laurie for the Dragons. Mikhail Ravalawa, parallel for the Dragons. Season to remember, Felice Kafusi, Jacob Saifiti, parallel for the Knights. Showcase, Blake Laurie for the Dragons. Dylan Latin Zalesniak, parallel for the Warriors. Sword and Shield, Damien Cook for the Rabbitohs. Regan Campbell Gillard, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Alexis for the Dragons. Addo Carr, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Andy Robinson for the Sharks. Oops. Says Sipatalakai, parallel for the Sharks. Women's NRL, Emily Bass for the Titans. Sean Ballor, parallel for the Tigers. Season to remember, Tegan Berry for the Dragons. Jaden Campbell, parallel for the Titans. Women's NRL, Sophie Holloman for the Raiders. Jeremiah Nanai, parallel for the Cowboys. Maya Hill Moana, World in League for the Roosters, and Tommy Turbo, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Kayla Romaniak for the Knights. Alex Johnston, parallel for the Rabbitohs. World in League, Jason Tormalolo for the Cowboys. Reece Walsh, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Arthur Stephen for the Eels. James Fisher-Harris, parallel for Panthers. Women's Gold parallel, Shania Power for the Cowboys, number 90. Dolphins parallel checklist. Dylan Edwards, season to remember for the Panthers. Lindsay Collins, parallel for the Roosters. Alright, box number 10. Let's go. Season to remember, Mia Wood for the Roosters. Apasai Coruscant, parallel for the Tigers. Once again, guys, reminder, don't forget to get your tips in. And if you haven't joined the tipping comp, make sure you do. Nat Butcher Showcase for the Roosters. Lachlan Croker, parallel for Manly. We now have the two tipping comps. One is paid, $50 entry, and one is free. Would love for everyone to join both, but you're more than welcome just to join one. Rising Stars for the Panthers. Jai Arrow, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Season to remember, Kieran Foran for the Titans. Kurt Capewell, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Tane Tuapiki for the Warriors. Jesse Ramian, parallel for the Sharks. Women's NRL, Georgia Hale for the Titans. Tom Gilbert, parallel for the Dolphins. Rising Stars, Sienna for the Titans. Kalen Ponga, parallel for the Knights. World in League, Saitili Tupanua for the Roosters. Jackson Ford for the Warriors. Alright, Women's Gold Parallel, Nevada George, number 106 for the Tigers. William Kennedy, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Will Warbrick for the Storm. James Tedesco, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Otessa Poole for the Roosters. Ezra Mann, parallel for the Broncos. Tamika Upton, Club Heroes for the Knights. Jake Trbojevic, parallel for Manly. World in League, Adam Fanua-Blake for the Warriors. Felice Kafusi, parallel for the Dolphins. Rising Stars, Xavier Wilson for the Broncos. Tigers, NRL Checklist. Season to remember for the Knights. Daniel Saifiti, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Tyrone Munro for the Rabbitohs. Chance Nico Klokstad, parallel for the Warriors. World in League, Thalami Kickout, parallel for the Bulldogs. Nico Hines, parallel for the Sharks. White Redemption Sig Micah Sito for the Eels, number 12. Jun Tupou, parallel for the Tigers. Rising Stars, Ryan Couchman for the Dragons. Jerome Hughes, parallel for the Storm. Season to remember, Matt Burton for the Bulldogs. Jack Bellin, parallel for the Dragons. World in League, Georgia Hale for the Titans. Jamal Fogarty, parallel for the Raiders. Gold parallel, Sifa Talakai for the Sharks, number 63. Haven't worn this jersey for a while. I don't think I'll be wearing it again for a little while. I think it shrank. We're going to say it shrank anyway. Mitchell Moses, parallel for the Eels. If not, that means I got fat. Or fatter. Rising Stars, Ryan Rivett for the Knights, Matt Burton parallel for the Bulldogs. Women's NRL, Jessica Surgis for the Roosters, Roosters parallel checklist. Campbell Graham, Club Heroes for the Rabbitohs. David Fafita, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Holly Dodd for the Raiders. Isaac Tago, parallel for Panthers. Sword and Shield, Nico Hines for the Sharks. Reece Robson for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Robert Derby for the Cowboys. Jaden Sewer, parallel for the Dragons. Yeah, I gave up cigarettes a while ago and went to vapes, and I gave vapes up about 2 weeks ago, and I can already I noticed myself grazing a lot more, looking for something to nibble on. Doubling between Zalesniak, season to remember for the Warriors. Clint Gufferson, parallel for the Eels. Yeah, you're going for food instead of the vape or cigarettes. Jermaine Hopgood, Sword and Shield for the Eels. Bulldogs parallel checklist. World in League, April for the Cowboys. Cameron Munster, parallel for the Storm. He's not in this break, but Tony Luxton stopped by yesterday, and dead set, he dropped off. It has to be the best apple tea cake I've ever had. Rising Stars for Manly, it was absolutely awesome. Philip Sammy, a parallel for the Titans. He's welcome for morning tea anytime he's bringing one of them cakes. Sword and Shield for the Rabbitohs. Matthew Tomoko, parallel for the Raiders. Women's NRL, Zahara Tamara for the Raiders. Tommy Duden, parallel for the Cowboys. Alright, 2 more packets left for box number 10 in the case. Let's go. Showcase for the Eels, Sean Lane and Tavita Totola. Parallel for the Rabbitohs. Season to remember, Mahalia Murphy for the Eels. Dylan Edwards, parallel for the Panthers. Alright. Box number 11, box number 12, and priority to go after that. Yeah, that'd be hard. I could understand that. I did night shift for a little while. Rising Stars, Ruby Jean for the Eels. Reuben Cotter, parallel for the Cowboys. Jerome Hughes, showcase for the Storm. Jareen Buller, parallel for the Tigers. Cheers, mate. That was sort of a random thing. Cameron McInnes, season to remember for the Sharks. Cameron Murray, parallel for the Rabbits. We got onto the vapes to quit smoking, and then all of a sudden I just had a flavour I really didn't like, and that was it. I haven't touched it since. I can't say I haven't gone looking for it, because when I sit here after I finish something or I'm looking, like trying to figure something out, I always go to look for it. But yeah, I don't miss it. Ali Brigginshaw for the Broncos. Adam Reynolds, parallel for the Broncos. Season to remember, Mackenzie Wiki for the Raiders. Blake Brayley, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Ronald Volkman for the Warriors. Jeremy Marshall King, parallel for the Dolphins. Rising Stars, Benjamin Lovett for the Rabbitohs. Tamir Martin, parallel for the Warriors. World in League, Joseph Tapine for the Raiders. Knights Parallel Checklist. Yeah, I'll only drink Coke, coffee and chocolate milk. There is no water at all in my diet except if it's in one of those drinks. Women's NRL Gold Parallel, Sophie Holloman, number 157 for the Raiders. Wade Egan, parallel for the Warriors. Showcase Tyson Frizzell for the Knights. Reece Robson, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Tom Weaver for the Titans. Jai Arrow, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Club Heroes, Isaiah Katoa for the Dolphins. Apasai Coruscant, parallel for Tigers. World in League, Jacob Saifiti for the Knights. Kurt Capewell, parallel for the Broncos. Season to remember, Kieran Foran for the Titans. Tom Gilbert, parallel for the Dolphins. Trey Mooney, Rising Stars for the Raiders. Jesse Ramian, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Destiny Brill for the Broncos. Kalen Ponga, parallel for the Knights. Yeah, coffee's a staple in my diet. Chevelle, no, I don't know if that's Chevelle or Chayelle. Robbins Retty. Women World in League parallel for the Raiders. Jackson Ford, parallel for the Warriors. Oh, Dalian Predictor for the men's, number 38 for Titans. William Kennedy, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Jareem Buller for the Tigers. Big Papa, parallel for the Raiders. Season to remember, Luke Brooks for the Tigers. Christian Welsh, parallel for the Storm. Gold parallel, Jermaine Isako for the Dolphins, number 47. Blake Laurie, parallel for the Tigers. Dragons, I even went to the Dragons. I don't know why my brain does that to me. World in League, Justin Olam for the Storm. Roosters are winning both Dally M's this year. Sorry, Titans. Victor Bradley, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Jada Taylor for the Sharks. Eels, parallel checklist. Shanae Power, Women's NRL for the Cowboys. Isaiah Yo, parallel for Panthers. Club Heroes, Kalen Ponga for the Knights. Jacob Preston, parallel for the Bulldogs. Sword and Shield, Isaiah Papalihi for the Tigers. Alafiana Campiera, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Jacob Preston for the Bulldogs. Manly parallel checklist. I seen a guy, and I say claiming, I got no reason not to believe him, but saying that he designed the new Manly logo. Rising Stars, Jesse Southwell for the Knights, Jerome Hughes parallel for Storm, trying to get some of the cards with the logo on it. Alex Johnston, World in League for the Rabbitohs. Jamal Fogarty, parallel for the Raiders. I think a few people misunderstood what he was saying at first. Matt Burton, season to remember for the Bulldogs. And when I first read it, I thought he was saying he designed the Raiders logo. Jack Bellin for the Dragons. And I almost said to him, I wouldn't be admitting that, buddy. Sword and Shield, Cameron McInnes for the Sharks. Mitchell Moses parallel for the Eels. Sword and Shield for the Dragons. Roosters parallel checklist. Which one? The Manly or the Titans? Rising Stars, Tom Jenkins for the Panthers, Matt Burton parallel for the Bulldogs. I was saying either yesterday or the day before that Raiders will find a reason to change that for sure as quick as possible. There'll be some commemorative thing they need to design a new logo for. Quick smart. Ella Costa, Rising Stars for the Dragons. Isaac Tago, parallel for Panthers. Women's NRL, Rachel Pearson for the Eels. David Fafita, parallel for the Titans. Season to remember, Mia Wood for the Roosters. And that is the end of box 11. Oh, there's a parallel. That's not good. Lachlan Croker, parallel for Manly. The one they stole from the Bears, or I'm not sure, Alex, on this one, so if I'm supposed to know, I'm sorry, but did they inherit it with the merger, or no? Yes, I think I'm right in saying that. Blake Laurie showcase with the Dragons. Jackson Hastings parallel for the Knights, or they verse each other. What's sure they merged North and Manly, didn't they? A while ago. Rising Stars for the Cowboys. Ryan Madison parallel for the Eels. Lachlan Ilias, season to remember for the Rabbitohs. Jacob Carraz parallel for the Bulldogs. Season to remember, Jesse Southwell. Okay. Jesse Southwell for the Knights. Hammer Fido parallel for the Dolphins. I was only a wee boy back then. Julia Robinson, Women's NRL for the Broncos. Milwaukee Fotowaka, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Dylan Lucas for the Knights. Patrick Carrigan, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Gordon Tong for Manly. Chad Townsend, parallel for the Cowboys. Big Mal send-off. World in League, Elliot Whitehead for the Raiders. Damien Cook, parallel for the Rabbits. Women's NRL, Madison Bartlett for the Raiders, number 138. North smash Canberra and Canterbury. We're going to get to the final. We should have beat Canberra to get into the ground. Gary Laughton got sent off in a knee-jerk reaction to attack, but it wasn't close. Broncos parallel checklist. Roger. Club hero Scott Drinkwater for the Cowboys. Jacob Saifiti, parallel for the Knights. Showcase Ruben Cotter for the Cowboys. Regan Campbell Gillard, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Brendan Hands for the Eels. Josh Adokar, parallel for Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Miss Hopawade for the Roosters. Jermaine Isako, parallel for Dolphins. World in League, Brendan Hamlin Yuli for the Sharks. Aren't we all though, Alex? Aren't we all? Jaden Campbell. I think so, plus for now. Season to remember, Tegan Berry for the Dragons. Jeremiah Nanai, parallel for the Cowboys. Just a reminder, this is the last box of the case. Rising Stars, Ali for the Warriors. Alex Johnston, parallel for the Rabbits. World in League, Lachlan Elias for the World in League parallel, Lachlan Elias for the Rabbitohs, Reece Welsh parallel for the Broncos. Boo. Tegan Perry running machines for the Dragons, number 61. No. Alex is having a dig at the Raiders, and Sean May told him boo. Season to remember, Melly for the Broncos. Nathan Cleary, parallel for the Panthers. Rising Stars for the Titans. Ruben Garrick, parallel for Manly. World in League, Sonny Taruvia for the Panthers. David Clemmer, parallel for Tigers. Gold parallel, Stefano Yitkamanu for the Tigers, number 10. Joey Manu, parallel for the Roosters. Women's NRL, Mackenzie Wheel for the Cowboys. Sharks, parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Brendan Mikura for the Broncos. Joseph Tapine, parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Lindsay Smith for the Panthers. Adam Fennell Blake, parallel for the Warriors. Club Heroes, Tristan Saylor for the Broncos. Nick Meaney, parallel for the Storm. Sword and Shield, David Fafita for the Titans. Illawarra, St George, parallel checklist. Threw myself off because I said Illawarra. How about that one? Rising Stars, Mason Teague for the Dolphins. James Fisher Harris, parallel for the Panthers. Season 2 member, Dylan Edwards for the Panthers. Lindsay Collins, parallel for the Roosters. World in League, Abigail Roach for the Knights. Tommy Turbo, parallel for Manly. Sword and Shield, Latrell Mitchell for the Rabbitohs. Hudson Young, parallel for the Raiders. 5 packets left in the last box of the case. We still have the priority box to go. Rising Stars, Ebony Pryor for the Tigers. And CSF Talakai, parallel for the Sharks. Sword and Shield team for the Warriors. Sean Bloor, parallel for the Tigers. Rising Stars, Jesse Colquhoun for the Sharks. Storm, parallel checklist. Second last packet. Here we go. Season to remember, Felice Kafusi for the Dolphins. Dylan Wettin Zalesniak, parallel for the Warriors. Women's NRL, Cassie Hiku for the Eels and Mikel Ravalawa, parallel for the Dragons. Alright, last box priority. them. Alright, let's go. Final box. Final chance to hit a Legends today. Rising Stars for the Tigers. Storm Parallel Checklist. Season to remember, Felice Kafusi for the Dolphins. Mikhail Ravalawa parallel for the Dragons. Showcase Abunti Afoa for the Warriors. Regan Campbell Gillard parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Jada Taylor for the Sharks. Josh Adokar, parallel for the Bulldogs. Women's NRL, Elsie Albert for the Eels. Jaden Campbell, parallel for the Titans. World in League, Brendan Pecura for the Broncos. Jeremiah Nanai, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Ruby Jean Ellis for the Eels. Alex Johnston, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Season to remember, Dylan Edwards for the Panthers. Reece Welsh, parallel for the Broncos. Gold parallel, Cody Walker for the Rabbitohs, number 70. Dolphins parallel checklist. Can't help wear the cards. World in League, Joseph Tapine for the Raiders. Isaiah Yo parallel for Panthers. Rising Stars, Ronald Volkman for the Warriors. Dane Gagai parallel for the Knights. Club hero Sua Wong for the Roosters, number 10. Tohu Harris parallel for the Warriors. Marcus Slattery with the Roosters. Ooh, another black signature. Number 37 for the Bulldogs, Red Marnie. Nice little bonus for the break. Blake Laurie, parallel for the Dragons. Sword and Shield, Ruben Garrick for Manly. Cameron McInnes, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Trey Mooney for the Raiders. Stefano Utikamanu, parallel for the Tigers. Season to remember, Tegan Berry for the Dragons. Benny Turbo for Manly, parallel. Rising Stars, Sua Wong for the Roosters. Big Papa, parallel for the Raiders. Season to remember, Scott Drinkwater for the Cowboys. Victor Radley, parallel for the Roosters. Women's NRL, Hannah Southwell for the Knights. No, not all World in Leagues. The World in League parallels in the priority box are priority. Yeah, get that out. Hannah Southwell for the Knights. Jerome Luai, parallel for Panthers. So you have the World in League and the World in League parallels in the titanium boxes. The parallels in the priority are the priority version. Rising Stars, Ella Costa for the Dragons. Roosters parallel. World in League, Tyler Wong for the Dragons. Sebastian Chris parallel for the Raiders. Women's Gold parallel, Elsie Albert for the Eels, number 22. Xavier Coates parallel for the Storm. Rising Stars, Jesse Southwell for the Knights. Jack Bird parallel for the Dragons. World in League priority, Alex Johnston for the Rabbits, number 11. Christian Welsh parallel for the Storm. Club hero Sanua Taruba for the Panthers, number 25. Micah Sivo parallel for the Eels. Season to remember, Delhi Cherry Evans for Manly. Max King parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Tom Jenkins for Panthers. Titans parallel checklist. Sword and Shield priority, number 12 for the Storm, Mr. Zanoni. Murray Talagi, parallel for the Cowboys. And to be honest, Alex, after the team Sword and Shields, I think the World in League Gold Jerome Hughes is my next favourite card. Very specific. But the gold and purple in it makes it look like a Lakers. I think it looks awesome. World in League, Justin Olam for the Storm. Cody Walker, parallel for the Rabbitohs. only early days, Sean. Yeah, Rising Stars, Tom Weather, parallel for the Titans. Probably best to have a chat with Dad and work out exactly what you're trying to do. Selwyn Cobbo, parallel for the Broncos. Season to remember, Nick Meaney for the Storm. Valance to wear, parallel for the Dolphins. Sword and Shield, Addo Carr for the Bulldogs. Talking about US cards now, what? Greg Marshall, parallel for the Knights. Now you confuse me, Alex. Rising Stars, Destiny Brill for the Broncos. Tamar Martin, parallel for the Warriors. Pauline Pillay Razabel, Women's NRL for the Tigers. Blake Brayley, parallel for the Sharks. 2 packets left. Showcase, David Clemmer for the Tigers. Well, yes, but it's not the card, it's the team. David Clemmer, showcase for the Tigers. Jareem Buller, parallel for... We didn't get one, we only got a copper today, but have a look at that. Tell me you don't... As I said, that's copper, not gold, but the gold and the purple in those, I think, look awesome. And everyone knows I'm not a Storm supporter, I'm an Eels supporter, but yeah. Rising Stars for Francesca Goldthorpe for the Cowboys. And Manly parallel checklist to finish off the break. Alright guys, just a reminder, if you weren't with us at the beginning, we did hit the number 2 header card for the showcase case cards. So we're going to randomise that. It will be first because it came out first. Secondly, we have our showcase header card standard. And then third and last, because we weren't lucky enough to hit a Legends today, we have the $100 bonus gift card between all 17 spots. So let's get loaded up. Alright, everyone is loaded in and ready to go. Yeah, I think Jared Reese stole one of my ideas. When we were doing a lot of random teams, I was looking for a bingo ball thing to draw the numbers out. And I think, I haven't seen him, but I think someone mentioned Jared Reese has got one. I thought that was an awesome idea. Alright, anyway, let's get back to what we're doing. Showcase case card number 2. Group. Alright, number 1, number 2, and lucky last, number 3. David Murray with the Panthers. Congratulations. Once again, that is for the header card, case card number 2. There's a mouthful for you. Alright, let's go. So this is for the standard showcase header card. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. Sean May with the Cowboys. Alright, and lucky last to finish it all off, we have the $100 gift card. Let's go one more time. Number 1, number 2, and lucky last, number 3, Nathan Tones with the Rabbitohs. Alright guys, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you will join us again. We're starting early at 10 AM tomorrow, guys. I'm going to try and knock off early tomorrow, so we'll start early and see how we go. Alright.